Who's that girl? Na 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 na. She's a seer. Na 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 na. Hi soul seekers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Desire. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for all the love and support. It is greatly appreciated. It never goes unnoticed. Thank you so much for all the love I receive. Truly I appreciate you guys so much. Alright, so we're going to be jumping right into this energy. As you can see, I already have a few cards pulled here, and I did receive a channel message, okay, and I received it off of this sun energy. I was shuffling and the card made itself very present, and I immediately started to receive like downloads around the energy of this sun card in particular. So what Divine Holy Spirit told me: we have been called to call the sun down upon us. Divine Holy Spirit will only show back up if we intentionally, continuously call upon them the right way. Over time, we have lost the blind loyalty from the divine. We had blind loyalty that was offered to us by the divine at some point. But over time, we have lost that blind loyalty from the divine by control, manipulation, different levels of spiritual force and spiritual warfare. Nonetheless, as every law goes, it must be followed or carried out. So these laws, like whatever called us as a whole, humanity, but our individual walks, everything that we went through as an individual man or woman here, it adds to the consciousness. So it's like more trauma, more discord. The darker the vessels are, the harder it is to connect to the divine. The harder it is to make the right choices to not ruin that blind loyalty. So over time, life, spiritual warfare, societies, organizations, just so much shit that has happened to us individually. Over time, it's become a collective consciousness. Now it's a reality, and it's reality that's been a fucking reality forever. I feel like forever. But Divine Holy Spirit came through in this message to say that they will only show up if they are called on intentionally and continuously. So those of you, divine masculine, divine feminine, Divine Holy Spirit has showed up in your life, and you have established a strong connection, a strong alliance to your spirit team, whatever your spirit team is individually. Whatever your form of spirituality is, your practice is, whatever background you come from, lineage, wherever you're located in the world. Many of you have taken the journey to the point where you have loyalty, and it's almost, if it's not for some of you, you may even be very close to obtaining blind loyalty from the divine, or that's something that's going to be bestowed upon your bloodline individually as your generations to go. It's like a guarantee. So that's like changing the narrative and literally saving the consciousness of humanity. So we have individually been called to call upon the sun, to call the sun down upon us. So that's talking about illumination. Everything in the dark must come to the light. Whatever the dark is, the darkest, deepest corners of humanity, the darkest, deepest corners of the things that have went on, everything is coming out because we have been called, each of us individually, each emperor, each empress has been called to bring the sun energy, shed awareness, shed light to shadow activity, shadow energies, demonic agendas and mindsets and spirits of men and women. And this is the darkest corners, or bringing the light to the shadows in every area in your life, your work life, your relationship with family members, your love life, just your life of like professionalism, like when you go and exchange energies. Let's say it's like at a supermarket or coffee shop or doctor's office, a school. It's like wherever there's a man or a woman present, there's darkness there. Okay? Wherever there's a human being present, you better believe that there's darkness around. So individually, us, divine masculine, divine feminine, we have been called to many places. For some of you, you could be a wanderlust, travel. You're not at one place for too long, whether that's like a location or like a job or something like that, a connection, a friendship, a relationship. It's like you are a traveler in that sense, because you're meant to bring the sun to several places in your lifetime. It's a part of your mission. And a lot of this bringing the sun energy is like on a personal level. So that explains like your love life, how you've had the ups and downs and nothing really lasting. And it's not because it's your fault. And of course you're not perfect, but you are absolutely worth it. And it's just like these people, these men and women that you tried to give your heart to give that loyalty to on a romantic level, they just didn't deserve it. Even family members, even friends, no one was ever worthy enough to receive what you have. Back then and especially now. So again, we have been called individually to call the sun down upon us. This is the only way that the light will come. This is the only way that divinity will show up. We have to be intentional about it. We have to be very certain. We have to choose divinity, because for a very long time divinity was denied. And look at what has happened. And how is it denied? Through abusive relationships, mind control, like fucking MK Ultra. Just so much shit. I'm being reminded of the fucking, what is it called? The Popeye operation, when they controlled the weather to win a fucking war. Like the wars, the killing, every fucking thing that happens here that is connected to darkness, that caused us to deny divinity's presence. So divinity has left. Divinity has been gone for a long time, but us individually, divine masculine, divine feminine, we are bringing divinity back. Okay, and we're doing it intentionally, and that's why shit is so hard for us. These forces, these men, these women, these entities, these demons, like everything is so fucking hard for us because we are so intentional. So it's like these people, these forces, these organizations, these societies, they have tried to stop us. They've literally tried to break us again and again, and we just keep getting back up and being even more certain and more intentional about calling the sun down. All right, full on spiritual warfare. And with this energy, nonetheless, as every law goes, it must be followed or carried out. The demonic, how do I want to say this? Demonic intelligence, the demonic kingdom, they have laws, they have spiritual laws and guidelines. Like, let's say someone was able to put root work on you. And if they called upon the right entities, they made the right sacrifices, they degrade themselves, mind, body, spirit enough, they became hateful enough, low vibrational enough to ask for that contract to be carried out, it is placed on you. That's why, and especially if you have no knowledge, knowledge is power, knowledge is protection. If you have no knowledge, you have no power or protection. And also, it's one thing, it's different levels of protection. It's one thing to be protected here in the physical, like you can have people you can call on, or you got enough money or resources to get out of a situation, but to be protected spiritually is a game changer. And you have to earn that protection. Yes, we come with a natural level of protection, but the deeper we go into our calling, the more heinous and sinister it becomes. And it is our job to make sure that we are doing what we have to do to gain like the highest level of protection. And what does that look like? Cutting people off, stopping patterns and cycles that's been going on for a long time, breaking the pattern, breaking the generational curses and strongholds, being called the biggest bitch thus far, being labeled as the enemy, as this, all of these fucking titles that was meant to break you, being able to survive all of the fucking tactics that you will go through. That's a part of our responsibility, because again, just like them, just like these men and women who are full on agents for this demonic energy, they're full on vessels for demons now. They did what was necessary. They broke us. They kill, steal, destroy, humiliate, ruin, stalk, harass, torment. That's them abiding to their contract. But here's the thing, they don't have protection. Protection can only come from divinity. All they have is chaos, mayhem, madness, dis-ease. They don't have protection. But you, divine masculine, divine feminine, as we all individually continue to go deeper onto our path of spirituality. Again, spirituality is an individual journey. One second. Okay, so like I was saying, spirituality is an individual path to yourself. You discover who you are. You discover what spiritual practice your family, your ethnicity, your background comes from. That's how you find out. This is like the basis to like an initiation. If you want to be initiated, you want to be called, you want to be chosen, you want to fight the good fight, that's where it starts. You have to be willing to detach from whatever religion was placed on you, whatever religion was programmed onto you. You have to take a journey back, your roots. Where do your people come from? What is the name of the tribe of your people? What was the ancient practice? What was their ancient practice in spirituality before religion was created? Because I guarantee you, no matter where you come from, what part of the world you come from, there was ancient practices before there was a religious system. That's how it starts. You dig into that. Wherever you come from, whatever it connects to, whatever your dots connect to spiritually, you start studying. You start looking up those names. You start to develop a relationship. You always call upon the highest of those spirits, because every practice, every bloodline, every existence has light and dark. So you call upon the light. You get to know these deities. Never work with an entity. Never work with an entity. Okay? You start to get to know these deities, these ancestors. Maybe for some of you, doing like a family tree, connecting back to your roots. What was your great-great-great-grandma's name or something like that? Where did they come from? Where were they born? You follow a trail. It's like a breadcrumb backwards to your past. And you're going to find out individually what spirituality is practiced. What did it used to be called? What is it called now? Why did it fade away? Why don't many people know about it? Learn who you are individually. And then you get to a point where you're going to be called to create an altar, which is basically a site, a space of worship. Okay? Always worshiping deities, never an entity. Okay? And then it just gets deeper and deeper from there. But that's like the beginning stages. So for those of you where you're like, how do I even get to a certain level? That's where it starts. That's where it starts. And you have to be willing to walk away, detach, possibly even denounce the religion that was forced upon your bloodline or your ethnicity of people, something like that. It's not for the weak. It's not. You have to be willing to be challenged, to be tormented. And for many of you, you've already, like, your life has already been so hellish. So it's like, you might as well, because it's like things have already been so hard. People are hateful. So it's like you might as well do something that you're going to fully benefit from. Like if you're going to take the walk, if you're already being tormented, you already been harassed your whole life, you might as well go through the initiation. You might as well. You're the perfect candidate. Those of you, myself included, who's always been treated poorly, you're the perfect candidate to be an initiate. It just gets a little harder and then it stops. Alright, so nonsense. Yes, it's time to start talking sense. Absolutely. And they don't want me to keep talking. I'm going to connect the dots for you. That's how you start. That's how you go from being wherever you are in life to, I want to say where I am, but you know, in that same reality, that same consciousness, because we all have our own levels and we all have our own missions. But yeah, you will definitely get there, but you have to stay the course. Again, I've been on my journey for sure 11 years. I would really have to sit down and like add up and like go back to exactly when I started realizing that I was on a spiritual path. I realized it at least 11 years ago. Okay. And yeah, it takes years. It takes years. So don't ever give up on yourself and continue to call the sun down upon you wherever you are, because you are the only one who can do this individually, divine masculine, divine feminine, and it's not many of us. I think that card came out as well, if I'm not mistaken, or I've seen it. That rare and free card. You are rare and you are free. There's not many like us. Not many individuals, men and women, have the ability to call the sun. That's a power. Okay. So yeah, keeping up. Immense effort. Yeah. Now these entities, these men and women, these societies, however high or low, personal or impersonal it may be, they have to like exuding immense effort to try to keep up. Like they are burning out. They're burning out. They already know. Judgment is here. Alright, yeah, falling. The unknown, descending, losing momentum. It's up. It's over. Like the message says. Over time, we have lost the blind loyalty that was given to us by the divine from different forms of control, mind control, manipulation, spiritual warfare. But nonetheless, as every law goes, it must be followed or carried out. Whatever this shit was, over humanity as a whole, over you, over your bloodline, over you and your children, whatever it was, it's already been carried out. The only thing that will prolong a curse, a stronghold, a level of consciousness is people still holding on to it. People not realizing something is over. You can set yourself free and you can be done altogether. People stay attached to situations, to mindsets, to connections, to lifestyles, not realizing that they're prolonging their own demise. But for many of you, you have the clarity. You embody the sun. That's complete clarity and awareness. Alright, I wonder what will happen next. Yeah, especially for the darker forces, the men and women who created these organizations, these societies, who run them, and then go and live a completely different life. These men and women who are complete strangers to their own family. They're thinking mom, dad, granddad, aunt, uncle, whomever, brother, sister is just going to work, not knowing what these people have taken an oath to, what they do behind these dark ass scenes on all levels. Whether it's a fucking on a level as basic, or not basic, but as you know, as common as like a teacher. It goes from the levels of fucking schools, elementaries, daycares, people who run them, people who work there. It goes from that level all the fucking way up. All the way up the ladder. But these are men and women who get up and they go and they perform these things. They leave their home. They dedicate themselves to this. But and it's like their family has no idea who they really are. A lot of things are getting ready to change for these people. And it's just like, it's the scariest time of their life. Because this is the moment of realization. The sun has been called down. The sun has been called down. And what does the truth do? It sets you free. And that's why the truth is so feared. That's why people like myself are so feared. And people have done so much to try to stop us, to make us go away. You can't change the truth. You can't stop the truth. You can make your peace with it. You can learn how not to fear it and to accept it. But stopping it and changing it, that will never happen. And that's why it's so important for you to get on your path. Who are you? Who is your spirit team? Not who's these religious titles that you're worshiping. Because half of these, to be completely honest, I'm going to touch on it briefly. These hierophant figures, these leaders that's mentioned in certain religious, if not all of them, all religious practices and systems, you give that life. Why do you think you have to get up and go to church however many times a week? I'm hearing something about go to mosque or mass or something like that, whatever your practice is, and you have to do that religiously because you're feeding that energy. You're feeding that energy. That energy exists because you continue to feed it individually. It's a lot of things that's going to blow your fucking mind, but it will set you free. Alright, so I just want to talk on that briefly. I had to provoke someone's thought there. But yeah, they're wondering what's going to happen next. And these are people who, they know what should happen. They know what should happen. So the people who serve the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of wickedness and evil and all of those things, these people know what the fuck is going to happen next. Because they know what they've been doing. They know what their, what was passed down to them, what their ancestors did, what they continue to practice in this day and age. They know what's coming for them is fucking horrific. Meanwhile, the divine masculine, divine feminine is like, I wonder what happens next. Optimism, gratitude, appreciation, excitement, happiness, joy. You see how those are two different realities? It goes from, fuck, I wonder what's about to happen to me next. And then when it pertains to us, it's like, wow, I wonder what's about to happen next. Life gets so good. But that's the fucking contrast. That's the tables have turned. The tables have turned. That same question in two different realities, two different frequencies. Something about polar opposites or alternate realities. Yeah. Okay, alternate realities. One reality, someone life is looking like this, and then somewhere else a person is living a completely different reality. There's a swapping. Alternate realities, like a destiny swap type of energy here. Alright, so investigate. Yes, it's time for you to. Everything I was communicating, how you discover where you come from, the first steps, what it looks like, what you have to do, look closely. Ask questions. And think before asking. Make sure, like, don't take this journey into spirituality blindly. Don't be ignorant about it. Understand that these are forces that have existed and that will always exist. And they have power. Whether they're dark or light, they are being fed to a different degree for a different reason. When you feed, because you, even working with a deity, you're not feeding them your energy. They don't need your energy. Deities are existence that have life force of its own, that has true power. Deities are often men and women who walk this earth at some point, and they completely transcended back into pure positive energy to prepare for this shit. Deities are often ancient. If there could be a few deities that's walking around here today. They come from very ancient bloodlines. You never know who you're in the presence of, okay? But deities, they've had blood pumping through their veins. They've literally walked this earth at some point. Whether that was a billion years ago or fucking 5-10 years ago. Whether they're here now. Okay, that's a deity. They don't need your energy, and they're not feeding off of you. They're here to help you, but you do have to pay homage to them. You do have to worship them. You do have to acknowledge them. You do have to respect them. You do have to call upon them to, how do I want to say it? Make sure that you're checking in with them. Make sure that you're being obedient. You have to be willing to walk with them because they are the only ones that can truly set you free and protect you. And there's so many deities because there's so many different walks of life, so many different cultures, so many different races and ethnicities and all of those things. It is asinine, and at this point just complete ignorance, to assume and to really believe that every man and woman come from the same creation. If that's the case, why we don't look the same? Why we don't think the same? Why is there so much hatred and discord between us if we all came from the same creation? No, it's asinine. And I'll be so glad when people just wake up to that. But it takes time. It takes time. This is the beginning of it. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And that's the difference between a deity and an entity. An entity is dead. An entity has no life force. An entity needs to be fed. That's why when those of you who have already made the change from spirituality or from religion to spirituality, you don't have to feed your deities. You have to acknowledge them. They expect for you to have a place of worship and acknowledgement like in your home. Pour them a glass of water, get them some fresh flowers, cook for them every once in a while, light a candle. But you going around tearing people down and stalking people and sacrificing and all of that weird ass shit, or having to fucking devote yourself, giving fucking money, time, energy, effort, having to do shit because a book says you have, like, no, it's completely different. You don't never have to go to a deity at the same time, same days of the week. It's different, and you're going to realize that. Those of you where you have, like, let's say, I can only really speak on Christianity because that's the only religious system that I was controlled under. They expect you to be in that church 3-4 times a week, 4 or 5 hours at a time. They expect you to do this, to do that, to do, you can't do this, you can't do that. Be all in your business. Like, you always have to be there, paying tithes, donating, doing it. Like, you always have to feed that system, something. You always have to, I don't want to get that deep into it. But yes, y'all, that's the message here. So we are all mad here, exactly. And this is when I got it in like my meditative state, and also when I'm getting it again here. These people, no matter what level of society, your next door neighbor, your blood relative, or a fucking stranger all the way in another country who's been controlling you remotely, you never fucking know what level, but they know. They know what they've been doing, and they have to accept the fact that they allowed these entities and these supernatural forces to fucking ruin them. It's awakening season, it's judgment season, it's the season of truth and clarity. Everyone's a little different, exactly. Why couldn't they accept people for who they are? Why did they have to try to control humanity? Why did they have to try to control you on an individual, like, you know, very personal level, your family, your friends? Like, why couldn't they just accept that you're different for a reason? Those of us who are different and we're persecuted and we're hated for it and humiliated for it and harmed for it, we're different for a reason. We need to be here. Lead the way, exactly. Be a leader. So you continue to show up and be a leader in any way that you're being called to. Alright, I hope this message is informative and helpful for whoever needs it. Alright, so yeah, the strength card here, and then the 7 of Cups. Yes, it takes a lot of strength, a lot of mental strength, spiritual strength, and protection to break the illusion. Alright, so that is where I'm being asked to leave the message. This is a message that's very clear. It's not really a reading. It's more of a message, okay? So I'm sending you all mana, love, and light. And until next time, namaste.